Panthers will receive from the south end of the field. The War Eagles will kick and defend the north goal.
We are back here at C.W. Lewis Stadium now, where the Benton Panthers are getting ready to come on the field and pluck those War Eagles. Big sign that is out right now, and the Panthers come on the field. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First of all, for the J.A. Fair War Eagles, starting tonight at tight end will be Derek Lewis. The split end will be Reggie Carter. The center tonight is Joe Sheely. The tackles are Jamal Williams and Mark Bell. The guards are Doyle Moore and Lewis Scott, and Joe Sheely will be out over the ball at center in the backfield tonight. The quarterback is Walter McIntosh. The tailback is Delano Davis, and the fullback is Joe Davis. And also running in the backfield tonight will be Mark Tate. For the Benton Panthers tonight, the tight end is going to be Michael Grant. The other end is Brent Black. Brian Holter also will see some action, but we have heard that Holter might just be going one way. Is that right tonight?
Well, they're going to try to hold him one way, John. He was affected last week by the fact that he was going both ways, and Brent Black's back healthy, so they're going to try to use him as much offensively as they can and let Holter keep his legs under him for later on in the ball game.
Let's set some more of these starting lineups for you for the Benton Panthers as they deploy out onto the field here. At quarterback tonight, Brad Collett, Terry Berry at fullback, Tommy Burton will be at one halfback, and Dean Bird will get the nod at the other halfback. The tackles are Steve Woods and Scott Rivers. Bo Cheney will be out over the ball at center. Michael Moore and Reed Kaufman will be the guards, and those are the starting lineups. Richard Warner will be kicking off here for J.A. Fair as the War Eagles will be kicking. John Graves is the deep man for the Benton Panthers. This ball game is underway. Picked up on the 15-yard line is the kick. Out to the 20, the 25-yard line, and running the ball for the Fighting Benton Panthers is Paige Eccles as he gets the ball up to about the 32-yard line. That's where the Panthers go first down and 10 yards to go. Tremaine Johnson on the tackle for J.A. Fair.
John Paige Eccles, he was sweating it all week long. He didn't know as a sophomore if he was going to come in here and start this ball game or not. So he's been kind of concerned all week long as to whether he was. But Brad Collett is going to take the honors and start tonight.
So Brad Collett brings his team up to the line of scrimmage. He spins, he hands off up the middle to Terry Berry, and Terry is hit after a 1-yard gain on the 33-yard line. And right there for the War Eagles was Doyle Moore to put the stops to Terry. They're going to give him one extra yard, a little bit better than I thought. They give him up to the 34. It'll be second down coming up and 8 yards to go.
Well, Benton immediately felt that they were up against a little bit bigger team than what they have been in the past. In fact, John, that time Terry Berry just made a good run. They beat us on the line of scrimmage.
Ball lined up on the far side hash marks on the 34-yard line. Benton opening in the wishbone tonight. Here's Collett down the line. Brad Collett will keep across the 35 up to the 38-yard line. And Brad Collett with a nice bit of running there. Looked like he wanted to pitch it to Tommy Burton, but Alvin Coates was there to bring him down along with Jeremy Williams, and Brad wisely kept the ball, setting up a third down and 2-yard situation as the Panthers need to get to the 41 for the 1st and 10.
John, they've well scouted us. Their cornerback that time come up and just took control of our pitch man and rolled him out of the play.
Ball is lined up on the 38-yard line. 3rd down and 2. Benton on the near side hash marks. Here's Collett faking. Collett keeps the 40 to 45. Collett down to the 49-yard line for a 1st and 10 and then some. Doyle Moore was there to keep Brad Collett from getting, some big yardage on that play as the Benton Panthers move the chains for the first time in the ball game.
Well, I hope they continue to play Benton that way all night long. What they're doing is they're forgetting our quarterback, and they're putting 2 men on the pitch man, and that's not what they need to do right now because Brad Collett's too good of a runner.
John Graves flanked to the wide side. Ball on the near side hash marks. Benton moving from left to right. The give up the middle to Dean Bird as Dean takes it down to the 49-yard line of the War Eagles, and Doyle Moore along with Jeremy Williams on the stop. And that will bring up 2nd down for the Benton Panthers and 8 yards to go. They need to get down to the War Eagle 41 for the 1st and 10. We're down to 9:57 to play first quarter. No score. First drive of the ball game. Panthers this time will send Darren Adams to the wide side. In the wishbone with the ball on the near side hash marks on the 49-yard line of J.A. Fair. The give up the middle to the fullback Judd Fight. Judd takes it down to the 46-yard line, maybe the 45. We'll wait and see where they mark it as they're alternating Berry and Fight into fullback. And Mark Bell for J.A. Fair, 6'4", 234-pounder, makes the stop.
John, Judge Fight started out right where he left off last week. Judd he just took the ball, put both arms around it, and almost squeezed the air out of it and got him about a 5-yard gain out of it. He's a good fullback.
Panthers are opening drive, no score in the ball game. The pigskin on the 45-yard line. Here's Collett down the line, hits on the 45, still on his feet on the 40, down to the 38-yard line. Goes Brad Collett for the 1st and 10. Travis Haddison on the stop for J.A. Fair. Of course, the Panthers, Mike, have had some really good luck running out of the wing tee this year, and you have to think maybe the War Eagles were preparing more for the wing tee.
John, that's exactly what I was fixing to say. Benton has opened up in the wishbone and just doing a fantastic job, and I believe they're just not prepared for the wishbone. They're prepared for the wing tee, exactly like you said.
Ball on the far side, hash marks on the War Eagle 39. Here is Collett up the middle to Terry Berry, I believe. And he takes it down to about the 36-yard line where Delano Davis is there to bring him down. So the Panthers right now moving at will on the War Eagles. Couple of yards there. It's 2nd down and 8 yards to go. 8:36 to play first quarter. No score. Opening drive here for the Benton Panthers. Ball on the far side, hash marks as Darren Adams is split to the wide side of the field. Open field to Collett's right, running from left to right in the wishbone. Here's Collett taking a ball down the line. He's keeping 35. Collett hit on the 32-yard line, and Brad Collett picks up about 4 on the play. It was Doyle Moore there to bring him down. And so now the Panthers will look at 3rd down as they'll put it right on the 32-yard line. So again, another 3rd down and about 3 yards to go.
John, once again, they're really just leaving Brad Collett alone, and I don't know if it's the coaching that they just didn't put it in, but they're leaving Brad alone and going for the pitch man, and it's just leaving Brad wide open.
Well, now we have Graves split to the wide side, open field to Collett's right, ball on the near side, hash marks, and Tommy Burton is nailed in the backfield for a loss back up to the 34-yard line. About 3 War Eagles got in there quickly. William Tolbert was one of them. Travis Haddison was also in there for J.A. Fair and Jamal Williams, and that is a loss of 1. It'll be 4th down and 4 now for the Panthers.
Jamal Williams and Travis Haddock, John, their coach, J.A. Fair's coach, described to me that those 2 young men are both major college prospects, and both of them run 40s and about 4.6, so they're fine athletes.
Darren Adams is split to the wide side of the field. Ball on the near side, hash marks. Here's Collett down the line. Fumble. J.A. Fair has come up with the ball on the 32-yard line. Getting the ball was Tony Ross for the War Eagles.
John, we're just going to have to settle down just a little bit, and their defense, what they've done, they stayed in the wishbone long enough that they were able to get substitutes in and make corrections on their defensive side of the field and catch that pitch man and also the quarterback. And actually, they had him caught before he even pitched the ball. So with their adjustments, they held Benton that time.
So now Walter McIntosh comes in to quarterback the J.A. Fair War Eagles as the War Eagles move from right to left. He takes it and hands it off up the middle to Davis, I believe it was, and Matt Bowen makes the stop for the Panthers. Not much there as the Panthers' left side of the defensive line there survived the first test, and that will bring up 2nd down and 9 yards to go now for J.A. Fair.
Well, our defense played as well as you could ask a defense to play there. In fact, we had about 5 or 6 of our interior people, including our linebackers, in on the play, so that's just good defense on Benton's part.
Reggie Carter is split to the wide side, I formation. McIntosh takes the ball, hands off to Davis again across the 35. Davis up to the 29-yard line. Check that 39-yard line. John Brewer making the stop on him from the defensive secondary, and that is a gain of several more. Make it 3rd down and 3 now coming up here for the J.A. Fair War Eagles.
Did a real good job of blocking on their interior line then by J.A. Fair. They actually had Benton blocked real well, and Dean Bird at defensive end just made a real fine play to stop a long game.
Mark Tate is in a tailback now for J.A. Fair. Here's McIntosh handing off to Tate. Tate trying to find some running room. Hit on the 40, the 41-yard line. Short of the 1st and 10 as the Benton Panthers doing some gang tackling. And J.A. Fair coming up now with 4th and short. Russ Browning led the charge for the Benton Panthers, and now J.A. Fair forced to punt the ball.
J.A. Fair is going to try to get this punt off as fast as they can to prevent Benton from getting into that block punt defense. So the referees are giving us a little help by holding it up right here, but they are trying to get it off quickly.
Back to punt the ball for Fair is Delano Davis, standing on the 23-yard line. He gets the punt away off a big Benton rush, a wobbly kick that is going to be down and picked up actually by one of the Panthers on the 49 to the 45 to the 42-yard line. Goes Alan Bearden with the ball, and so the Benton Panthers will take over almost where they had to give it up, inside J.A. Fair territory.
John, we really flustered the punter. In fact, just prior to him getting the snap, he looked over to the coach on the sideline, threw his hands up and said, "Hey, what do I do?" Alan Bearden, it had all these big linemen around the ball out here, and Alan Bearden being a little bit of a back, he picks it up and makes a pretty good return out of it.
Ball on the far side hash marks as the Benton Panthers go to work on the Fair 42-yard line. Far side hash marks. Pass to John Graves is complete on the 32-yard line, but there's a flag in the Benton Panther backfield. Covering on the play, Mike, was Torrance Jones.
John, it almost looked like holding from that position on the field, and who threw the flag, and they are conversing right now with the J.A. Fair captain, and he's saying, take it, take it, take it. So it probably is going to be a holding penalty against Benton.
And the referee is getting ready to march it off against the Benton Panthers. And they will walk it across the 45 to the 47-yard line. And that's where the Panthers will take it. It's motion in the backfield, so it's 1st and 15 now.
I tell you, I'm going to just quit trying to figure them out, John. We need to put a microphone on them down there, I guess, and find out just what they're saying. But it came in an area in a late call where we did think it was holding.
So the Panthers now go to work 1st and 15. The ball on the War Eagle 47-yard line. Here's Collett. Play action fake. Fires the pass. Holter can't get a hand on it on the 34-yard line as he had his man beat, and Collett laid it right in between the two defenders. Torrance Jones was covering on the play.
Beautiful pass. Absolutely beautiful pass. And Brian just looked up to see where the defender was at, and he looked up just as it hit him right in the chest area. And it's a shame because it was a well thrown pass by Brad Collett.
Tell you what, Brad Collett can thread that needle, and he really has something on the ball.
And the thing about it is, John, Brian Holter's not going to miss many of them.
That is true. Graves split to the near side, open field to Collett's right. Collett wants to do it again. This time, Graves makes the completion on the 36-yard line. First, well, not a 1st and 10, but a nice play to eat up quite a bit of that yardage here. Torrance Jones covering and making the tackle for J.A. Fair.
That was a good catch for John Graves. He just, that's something they drill on, John, in practice, is getting down and putting the apron out there and cupping and getting ready to catch the ball. And that's the way they practiced it, and that's the way they played it here tonight. It's a beautiful catch for John Graves. It was down low, and he just brought it in.
Darren Adams now will be the wide receiver to the far side. Open field to Collett's left. Ball on the near side hash marks. Benton running out of the wishbone as they have since the beginning. Here's the pitch to Tommy Burton. He can't get around. He's hit on the 39-yard line and knocked out of bounds. On the tackle was Tony Ross for the War Eagles, and that time Brad Collett was hit. Lucky he got the pitch away at all, but he did, and Burton, though, could not get around the defenders.
John, a lot of times I'll watch the offensive line to try to key on where we're going, and I missed it that time, but whoever that was, he came through totally unblocked. We just missed an assignment, and it's caused us to go into a punting situation. What we have here is maybe if Holter can get off the right kind of kick, we can put Fair down deep in their own territory.
Holter will step back across the 50 to punt the ball, and back deep for the War Eagles is Jones. And here is a nice spiraling punt by Holter that will hit and will bounce into the end zone, and J.A. Fair will come out to the 20-yard line for this possession. 3:43 to play in the first quarter. There's no score. The Benton Panthers and J.A. Fair's War Eagles have traded balls, and that's about it thus far.
Well, we've seen pretty good defensive play by both teams, John, and what we're doing actually right now, and we've talked about this every week, is they're feeling one another out, and they're going to find out who's who and what's what, and then they'll kind of go from there. Whoever feels in the best is the one that'll win this ball game.
Well, let's see what happens now as Walter McIntosh brings his team up to the line of scrimmage, set up in the I formation, ball in the middle of the field as he takes the ball, hands it to Tate. Tate can't find much room there on the right side of the line as Brian Holter's there to keep him from advancing. He's hit on the 21-yard line. That'll bring up 2nd down and 9 yards to go. The clock showing 3:30 and counting. They're not even going to give him a yard. They mark it right down on the 20-yard line, so still 2nd and 10.
John, it's kind of hard to describe to people on the radio, but when they see this on the television Sunday night, they'll see Holter crawled on his knees and made that tackle. He was blocked down and stayed on his knees and went over and fielded and made the tackle.
High formation as McIntosh brings him up to the line again. Takes the snap, takes the ball, hands off on a cross-buck type play to number 20, Tony Ross. He's run out of bounds, though, on about the 22-yard line. Not much there. On the stop for the Panthers was Chris Barton.
Chris Barton and Brian Holter on the tackle.
Holter also there. It will be third down now for the War Eagles and 8 yards to go.
John, that time they really like to got outside on us. They did a misdirection play, and it pulled our linebackers. They misdirected it to the right side of the field first, and it pulled our linebackers off, but Holter comes on back and recovers and makes a good play.
So the War Eagles now looking at 3rd and 7. The ball on the 23-yard line. I formation. McIntosh calling the signals. Takes the ball. Play action fake. Got trouble. Rolls away from it to the right side. He's going to run. He's on the 25 to the 26-yard line and out of bounds. And the War Eagles have been stopped again. Adam Wright there to keep him from doing any damage. And once again, J.A. Fair will come back and punt the ball.
I tell you what, their coach today told me, John, that this team, one thing that they had was the fact that they would hit. And they proved it right out there just then. Let's wait for this punt, and we'll go back to that.
So here we go. Again, the rush was on as the War Eagles' Davis gets the punt away. John Brewer trying to get to it on the 45-yard line and out of bounds. But again, the Panthers are going to have real good field position. They'll mark it on the 46-yard line for this possession. And it will be forced first down and 10 yards to go with time running out here in the first quarter, 2:26 and counting.
John, what they did is they came back on that last offensive play down there and just did a crushing block on Danny Van Cleve over on the sideline there. And our pursuit allowed us to catch up and hold them, keep them from getting the first down. But J.A. Fair does know how to hit.
Yeah, they do. Well, let's see what happens now. The ball on the far side hash marks is again Brad Collett at the controls for the Benton Panthers as Collett takes the ball, hands off to Tommy Burton across the 45. Tommy up to the 49-yard line. And then introduces himself to Doyle Moore along with Jeremy Williams, or maybe they introduced themselves to Tommy Burton. It's a gain of 4, 2nd and 6 coming up.
It looks like we're running our plays in tonight with our split ends. We've got Blake Jumper in there right now, John. It's a sophomore split end, and he's done real well in practice also and just proven his ability to play in this varsity squad.
Jumper spotted or is out to the far side of the field. Open field to Collett's right. Collett takes the ball, hands off to Burton, and Burton hit on the 50-yard line. Not much there. Picked up 1 more yard, and that will bring up third down and still about 6 yards to go. Roosevelt Barnett and John Alexander, also Alvin Coates, all there for J.A. Fair. 3rd and 6 yards to go for the Panthers now with the ball right at midfield and 1 minute and 30 seconds to play in the first quarter. They're going to send Graves out to the far side. Benton running out of the wishbone as they had, looking at 4 down linemen for J.A. Fair. Here's the snap. Here is Collett wanting to throw, looking and can't get the ball to Terry Berry, the fullback. And so Scotty Black was there covering, and Benton once again will have to punt the ball. Had that connected, it would have been a 1st and 10 and then some.
Well, it would have been a beautiful play, but I'll tell you what we're doing right now is we're realizing that we're up against a 4A school and not a 3A school, and really we're finding out what the difference is. And I tell you, J.A. Fair is just real aggressive on defense.
Holter stepping back to the 35-yard line to punt the ball. And now we have the referee calling a halt to things. Back deep for J.A. Fair is going to be Torrance Jones. And we have a timeout on the field. With 1 minute, 13 seconds to play, no score in the ball game. We're going to pause for 1 minute. We'll be right back.
I figured it's about time for 6 minutes, buddy.
Fourth down, 6. Anholder in punt formation for the Panthers. Forain Jones leads for the War Eagles.
Well, Brian Holter will try it again now from the 36-yard line. Torrance Jones, the deep man. J.A. Fair wants to try to block this one, but Brian Holter gets another beauty away. Jones on the 20. Jones up to the 25. Jones is hit on the 27-yard line by a bunch of maroon jerseys of the Benton Panthers, and so J.A. Fair will take over. They'll spot the ball on about the 27-yard line, 1st and 10. Getting downfield, Kevin McConnell for the Benton Panthers.
John, we had real good punt coverage on that. Kevin McConnell was down, Michael Grant was down, and a few more that I just didn't connect numbers with them before they ran off the field. But it was beautiful punt coverage by the Panthers that time.
Walter McIntosh is the quarterback, set up in the I formation with Joe Davis and Mark Tate in the backfield with him. Benton Panthers in the 52 defense that they run. Here's the pitch to Tate coming wide. Tate cut and hit on the 29-yard line, falls across the 30 to the 31, and there's a flag thrown as Brian Holter comes across to make the tackle.
It's going to be a face mask, John. That time John Brewer came up and he kind of overran the play, and in reaching back he grabbed the face mask of the J.A. Fair player, and well, I've called it wrong again. Maybe they clipped us. I apologize for that. I did see the face mask that John just barely got a hold of, but it looks like it may be a clip on J.A. Fair.
Well, a clip, if that indeed is what it is, and that looks like what it is, J.A. Fair going to back a little bit, and the referee will be assessing a penalty against the War Eagles. We're down to 45 seconds to play in the first quarter. There's no score. In a defensive battle thus far in the ball game, as the referee will walk off the penalty down across the 20 to the 15, and they'll mark it on the 13-yard line. So a 15-yard penalty puts the War Eagles backs to the wall. It'll be first down now, and 24 yards to go. McIntosh and company up to the line of scrimmage. Ball on the near side, hash marks with open field to McIntosh's right. Here's the snap. McIntosh runs into one of his players, fumbles the ball, scramble for it. Dean Bird picks it up. He'll go into the end zone and scores. The Benton Panthers, on a fluke play, pick up the first 6 points of the ball game.
John, we were very aggressive that time on defense. Both of our ends closed in on him, and Adam Wright hit the quarterback and caused him to fumble the ball. And Dean Bird, being very alert and knowing that you can pick up a fumble and run with it, he just grasped it up and went on in for the touchdown. Really, it doesn't matter how you get the points as long as you get them, and as long as the defense scores them, that's fine with us too. So we're set now for John Graves to try the point after.
And Jerry Tidball will be holding for the Benton Panthers as they lead 6-0 here with 29 seconds to play in the first quarter. Now there's a flag.
Flags on the play.
Well, somebody must have lined up offsides. Looks like it might have been Benton's player, Lamont Boson, maybe.
Well, I believe they are going to go against Benton on it, John. I tell you, I'm not going to speculate this time. We'll just wait. Yeah, it is going to be all sides against Benton, so that'll be 5 yards. But you and I know, and the folks out there listening know that John Graves has hit a field goal from 47 yards this year, so really this just may be a good warm-up for him.
They're supposed to get a little loose here. Once again, John Graves will attempt the extra point. Kicks on the tee. The kick is up. The kick is good. Timeout on the field. Benton leading 7-0. We'll be back to C.W. Lewis Stadium in 1 minute.
I got to settle down. Have any of y'all got a volume?
Back at C.W. Lewis Stadium, Reed Kaufman kicking off, and the ball went out of bounds, so the Panthers will back it up 5 yards and kick it again.
John Reed Kaufman's got a good leg on him, but all year long, all of his kicks have veered off to the right, and that time it just went a little too far, and the J.A. Fair man let it go to get that extra 5 yards.
Deep for the J.A. Fair War Eagles will be Torrance Jones, as he's standing inside the 10-yard line now, as Reed Kaufman will tee it up, kick it off one more time. 29 seconds to play in the first quarter. Panthers leading 7-0. Scoring off a fumble that Walter McIntosh, after Adam Wright popped him pretty good. Dean Bird picked it up, ran into the end zone for the score, and the Benton Panthers lead at 7-0 after John Graves added the extra point. Here's Kaufman coming up, gets his toe into the ball once more, and it's an end-over-end kick. Jones takes it on the 12, out to the 15, to the 20, coming right up the middle to the 30-yard line, and that's all.
Jones returning to kickoff.
On the stop for the Benton Panthers was Darren Adams. Also getting in there, Paige Eccles for Benton. First down, 10 yards to go for J.A. Fair as they have the ball on the 30-yard line with 24 seconds to play in the first quarter.
War Eagles ball first and 10 for their own 31-yard line.
John, our kick coverage has really improved this year. We've worked real hard on that. From the first games we saw, they were a little lax in that, but it's really come on later on in these last few ball games.
Well, the War Eagles have Tony Ross split to the near side of the field. McIntosh under, takes the ball straight up the middle to the fullback Joe Davis. Davis hit on the 32-yard line. Couldn't go anywhere else because Danny Van Cleve was there to keep him stopped. And that's the end of the first quarter. We played one. Benton leading 7-0. We'll be back to C.W. Lewis Stadium in 1 minute.
Joe Davis on the last carry. Browning, Van Cleve, Bearden and Wright on the tackle.
Well, they give the ball to Torrance Jones, not Torrance Jones, but Mark Tate that time, as Tate takes the ball up to around the 39-yard line where John Brewer was there to bring him down. And with 11:41 to play in the first half, J.A. Fair's facing third down and just a yard to go. That's their best run from scrimmage thus far in the ball game. Ball on the far side hash marks as McIntosh. Mark signals. Takes the ball, hands off to Tate. He's not going to go anywhere. Tate hit in the backfield, back on the 38-yard line for a loss on the play. Getting in there was none other than Brian Holter. Also John Brewer for the Benton Panthers.
Brewer and Holter made the tackle, John, but I'll tell you where that all started from. Matt Bowen on the right defensive tackle side over there just played his man right straight up, and it congested the whole avenue, and that's where your linebackers and your other people come in and make those good tackles.
The Panthers are going to line everybody up on the field now to try to block the Delano Davis punt, and we have a timeout called here by the referee momentarily.
Going to have a little helmet problem there with Dean Bird.
John Brewer will be the deep man if the ball indeed comes to him, as the Panthers are going to be throwing everything at Delano Davis. Davis standing inside the 25-yard line to receive the ball. It's a low snap from center. Here's the rush. Here's the punt. He gets it away. It's a high, wobbly punt that will hit on the 31-yard line, and J.A. Fair will down it right there. Stepping forward for the War Eagles to down the ball was Todd Glenn. Also downfield was Torrance Jones. And so it will be the Benton Panthers taking over on the 31-yard line. First down and 10 yards to go. The Panthers in this quarter will be running from right to left.
John, we got Paige Eccles in the ball game at quarterback now.
Giving Brad Collett a break. I know they wanted Brad to try to completely heal, and maybe Paige Eccles can get something going here. Let's see what happens with a sophomore quarterback for the Benton Panthers. He's hit. No gain on the play as Paige Eccles kept it down the line and was hit by, I believe, Neil Andrews of J.A. Fair. No gain on the play. second down and still around 10 yards to go.
John, I tell you what they're doing. That time, Tommy Benton wasn't even anywhere close to the ball, and they've been instructed to go ahead and hit that pitch man and really put a thought in his mind, do I want this ball? So J.A. Fair is playing good heads-up, tough football.
Matt Bowen will flank to the wide side. Ball on the near side hash marks. Open field to Eccles right. He's going to throw. Puts the pass up complete on the 41-yard line to the tight end, Michael Grant, for a Benton. Well, let's see. It's not going to be enough for the 1st and 10, I don't believe. They spotted on the 41-yard line. Tony Ross is there. Yes, it was 1st and 10 now for the Benton Panthers.
Great play by a sophomore quarterback. That helps build his confidence. He stood in there real good and just waited on the tight end to break into the zone and made a good pass and good reception.
Well, Paige Eccles is not the better of the two passers, but he certainly can throw the ball. He takes it and hands off to Judd Fight. Fight fights for 1 yard, about one there up to the 43, and Mark Bell for J.A. Fair on the tackle. Bell is 6'4", 234-pounder, and he was right there on the play. So it's second down and 8 yards to go now for the Panthers. They're on the 43-yard line. They can pick up a 1st and 10 when they get to the J.A. Fair 49-yard line. Now we have a whistle, and a referee has called timeout once again.
I think we're going to have another equipment problem by J.A. Fair, man. They're going to go ahead and just bring in a substitute player for him and try to repair whatever his problem is on the sideline.
You know, the field, we haven't had the slipping and sliding that I had anticipated. We've had pretty steady rain for the last couple of days, but the field, surprisingly, looks like it's in pretty good shape. Ball on the near side hash marks. Here's Eccles down the line, takes the ball and hands it off to, I believe that was Terry Berry, down to the 45-yard line. Mark Tate picks him up and brings him down. So now the Panthers will be looking at 3rd down and still about 6 long yards to go.
Talking about the field, John, Coach Jones has done a great job getting this field in shape this year, and really for as much rain as we've had, it's in excellent shape.
Ball on the near side hash marks. J.A. Fair with a 6-man front defensively. Here's Eccles taking the ball again, leaves it with Berry. Berry takes it up to the 48-yard line, and Benton will have to punt as Travis Haddison is there to bring down Terry. And so with 8:32 to go in the first half of the ball game, the Benton Panthers, Brian Holter will come in to punt the ball away. And going back deep for J.A. Fair will be Torain Jones. Jones will go down to around the 20-yard line. Holter standing on the 34-yard line to get the punt away. Well, the War Eagles last time against Holter tried to block the punt. This time they'll try to set up the run with one rusher coming in. Holter gets it away, and it will fall just in front of Jones. They're on the 23-yard line to the Panthers. Michael Grant down there quickly along with another guy, Graves, to down the ball. And so J.A. Fair takes over on the 23-yard line. 1st down and 10 yards to go. Trailing in the ball game 7-0 as we're down to 8 minutes to play in the quarter.
John, our offense is going to have to do something to contain Travis Haddison. He's just an outstanding athlete at defensive end and been in on nearly every play tonight for the J.A. Fair team. And their coach, Estes, I can't pronounce his name, told me today that he was a major college prospect, and he's shown us here tonight that that's probably true. He's been a very, very aggressive football player on defense.
Well, let's see what happens now as J.A. Fair, who has had their problems with the Panther defense tonight, trying to get on track. They have the ball on the far side hash marks. McIntosh wants to throw, has plenty of time, fires the ball, and it's incomplete, and it could have been intercepted. As covering right there was Ian Perry for the Benton Panthers, and McIntosh just delivered the ball way over the head of his intended receiver that time.
Doesn't look like he's had a lot of work at passing the ball. He's certainly not a thrower of college caliber, but we just barely did miss an interception on that play. Benton did.
So they'll try it again on 2nd and 10. I formation, ball far side hash marks. Here's the snap. McIntosh will keep it this time. He'll be hit as he falls across the 23 to the 24-yard line. And right there for the Panthers was Alan Bearden waiting on him. It's a gain of 1. It'll be 3rd and 9 coming up.
Brian Holter did a little payback that time. He came up and on their pitch man and absolutely leveled him. And the young man got up thinking, I don't know what hit me, but I don't want it to hit me again. So Brian Holter is doing a little payback on that. Because they've been hitting our pitchman tonight way out of the play and really unnecessary hits.
This time it'll be Reggie Carter coming to the near side of the field. I formation. Walter McIntosh takes the ball, leaves it with the fullback Davis. He fumbles the ball. The Benton Panthers have come up with it on the 26-yard line as Danny Van Cleve is there to claim it for the Benton Panthers. And Benton now with a great opportunity, Mike.
Our down lineman that time on defense did an excellent job. They played their offensive player exactly the way they were supposed to, plugged up the middle. Had just a little bit of a bad exchange between the quarterback and the ball carrier. And we caused a fumble and alertly recovered it. And a great job by the Benton defense.
So Paige Eccles and company come back in and take over on the 24-yard line, running out of the wishbone. Eccles leaves the ball right up the middle to Judd Fike as Judd gets it down to around the 22, maybe the 21-yard line.
John, one thing that Eccles is just not quite set with is the fact of Judd's speed of getting up to the line and taking the ball. And Paige is maybe holding him just a little bit by holding on to the ball just a little tight, but that's something that he'll get used to a little later in the game.
He was hit that time by a 299-pounder, Corey Vanderbilt, for J.A. Fair. Fike gets the call again. He's inside the 20 to about the 19-yard line that time. Hit by Mark Bell that time. That's the 234-pounder. That's a lot of beef there on that J.A. Fair defensive line.
It's by far the biggest team Benton has played this year, and really it's going to be an awful good test for our offensive line to see just how strong we are.
Panthers scored their 7 points. If you just joined us on defense, as Dean Bird recovered a McIntosh fumble and took it into the end zone for the touchdown. Here's the ball being kept by the quarterback. He takes it inside the 10 down to the 9-yard line. Paige Eccles with a nice run that time. Looked like he almost bobbled the ball, and that kind of froze the defense for a second. And Paige, he took advantage of that, and he raced right up the middle.
John, to be real honest with you, I think that was supposed to go to the fullback, and they just miscued what I was talking about there a while ago. We'll get back to it right after this play.
First down and goal now for the Benton Panthers. The ball on the 9-yard line in the wishbone. Here's Eccles taking the ball. Eccles hands off up the middle. And a big pile up there down around the 9. I don't see how Judd Fike got a yard, if any, that time. Not much there at all. And one of the J.A. Fair players is shaken up on the play. Mark Bell made the stop, and we have a timeout on the field. So with an injury timeout right now and 5:04 to play in the first half of the ball game, let's pause for 1 minute. We'll be right back.
They got a $2.99 and $300.
Did you know it?
I do.
What's that?
I got to stop halfway through 3 pages on the flashback. Okay? I give 60 seconds. So you got to give off 60 seconds.
I just asked him to put a few right there.
Okay.
And then I got to put one at the end.
If you would try to run that store just a little more often. I'm just critiquing a little bit, but I don't hear it quite often.
Okay.
Twice, 3 times, right? 3 times.
Back at the 8.
This won't work.
Well, we return to C.W. Lewis Stadium as Paige Eccles fumbles the ball, but he was there to get it back. And that's going to bring up a third down, still around 9 yards to go here. Third down and 9 with 4:32 and counting in the first half of the ball game. The Panthers leading 7-0 and knocking on the door of opportunity here, Mike, but don't know whether they can capitalize on it right now. They've had some miscues here with a young quarterback in the ball game. Eccles has the ball in the middle of the field, lined up in the wishbone. Here's the snap. Eccles wants to throw, lofts it in the end zone. It's going to be broken up as the pass was intended for Darren Adams. And I tell you what, a good defensive play by Torraine Jones of J.A. Fair to bat the ball away.
John, to kind of back up and recap for folks of what's going on is that Eccles, of course, being a sophomore, and we're having just a little bit of a miscue on his handoffs, and he's just not really smooth yet and not used to the quickness of these first-team players. And I believe we're going to have John Graves go for a field goal this time.
And right now it'll be Gary Tidball holding, and Graves will get his toe into it on the 16-yard line, well within his range. It'll be a 26-yard attempt here. for the Benton Panther, and the kick is up. The kick is no good, off to the left. 4 minutes and 8 seconds left to play. The Panthers still leading 7-0. We'll be back right after this.
Warriors will ball first and 10 from their own 40-yard line. On the carry. Browning, Tidball, and Perry on the tackle. First down, War Eagles.
We returned to C.W. Lewis Stadium as J.A. Fair got out of the hole pretty good that time as they took it to the fullback, got it out to the 33-yard line, and that's where they go now with the 1st and 10. Here's the tailback, Tate, across the 35, the 40. Tate to the 45, 46-yard line, and finally brought down by the Benton Panthers, John Brewer, but not before he picked up a much-needed 1st and 10 with time running out here. 3:42 to play in the first half of the ball game, and J.A. Fair now trying to get some offense going.
Looks like they're doing a pretty good job of blocking, John, on the line of scrimmage. That time they just had our men laying on the field.
Ball spotted on the far side, hash marks. They give it again to Tate across the 45. Tate in the middle of the line and up to the 49-yard line. And then covered by the Benton Panthers. On the stop for Benton was Brian Holter.
John Tate's, pardon me, John Tate's 5'10", 195 pounds, but he runs a 4.640, and he gives you the look of Greg Mundy in the backfield, but he's got a whole lot of speed to go along with it.
He sure does. They send Reggie Carter out to the near side. Ball on the far side, hash marks, I formation. Benton Panthers with a 6-man front. They take the ball, they leave it with Davis, their fullback, across the 50, the 45, the 40, down to the 39-yard line, and a 1st and 10 for the War Eagles. Gary Tidball makes the stop along with John Brewer for the Benton Panthers, and right now, J.A. Fair is building some pretty darn good holes in that Benton Panther line with 2:54 to go, and the Panthers leading 7-0. Fair trying to do something about that right now.
Doing a great job on the line of scrimmage of blocking our defensive men, and they're gaining good yardage out of it.
Ball on the Benton 39-yard line as the quarterback McIntosh falls down. He loses the ball, and it will be recovered across the 50 on the 46-yard line by Mark Tate. They ruled that as a fumble that time, not a pass. McIntosh trying to get it to his tailback that time would have probably been wiser just to fall down.
John, it was a pass all the way, but it wasn't intended to do that. When he came back there and threw the ball behind him, that's ruled as a lateral. It's not a forward pass, and it's a free ball. Anybody can get to it. That's a mistake on the J.A. Fair quarterback's part.
Carter will be coming to the near side of the field. Ball on the near side, hash marks on 2nd now and 25. Fair backed up across the 50 to their own 47-yard line. Here's the give across the 50-yard line. Comes Jones, who is slipped in at tailback. Dean Bird was there to bring him down as they have it now across the Benton side of the 50-yard line down to the 46-yard line, and we get a timeout here for the Benton Panthers with 1:49 to play in the first half. We'll be back in 1 minute.
What I'm going to do is try to judge. I'm not judging one I should do a 30, one ought to do a minute. I'm trying to get all these spots in.
Yeah.
And that other time I should have just done a 30 and forgotten about it. But we'll get a good minute here. No problem.
Yeah.
Don't drink the wrong one there. They got those cigarettes I stood in.
Really?
If we can get time, I can. I see what's going on and what's happening to us. If we get time, I'll try to fill it in and let the people know kind of what's happening, you know.
Okay.
3rd down, 17.
1:49 to play in the first half. Here's McIntosh for J.A. Fair. Play action fake. Wants to loft a long one. Puts it up. It's going to be batted away by the Benton Panthers. Gary Tidball with a great defensive move on the 24-yard line as the pass that time was intended. Some of the J.A. Fair fans want a they want a pass interference play. Derek Lewis was the intended receiver.
Gary Tidball just did a great job that time, John. He went up over the back of the receiver, put his right hand out in front of him, and brought his left hand out. He never touched the receiver. Fair, of course, trying to make a judgmental call by the fans, but it was really a beautiful play by Gary Tidball at safety.
Referee right on top of the situation. So now 4th and 17 for the War Eagles as Lewis will punt the ball. There's going to be a roughing the kicker penalty, though, as Lewis was hit by Alan Bearden and knocked down. The ball will be downed on the 14-yard line, but not before we had the roughing the kicker penalty, Mike.
John, really what they need to do, and of course in the NFL they have the old instant replay. We don't have it here, but he was blocked. Our boys were actually blocked into the kicker. Now they're talking to our captain on our team, so we'll just have to see. They are going to call roughing the kicker, but he was just explaining to Ian Perry what happened, and they're going to get a first down out of this, I believe.
Well, they walk off the penalty down to the 31-yard line.
Got one official over there hollering, move the chains. It's automatic first down, and yeah, they are going to move the chains. It is going to be an automatic first down.
Well, a mistake defensively there for the Benton Panthers. We're down to 1:36 to go. The Panther defense has done the job all night, though. Benton leads 7-0 here at home at C.W. Lewis Stadium, the first conference ball game of the year, and Reggie Carter will come to the near side. Walter McIntosh, I formation. McIntosh takes the ball, wants to throw, drops back, fires the pass, has a man out there, broken up again by Gary Tidball, as the pass was again intended for Derek Lewis, and Tidball right there to break it up.
That's an excellent defensive safety play. Gary Tidball is playing safety exactly the way he's been coached, and exactly the way he has the ability to do. And he lays back off the receiver just a little bit, and really and truly, Gary's going to get, if they keep on throwing that ball up and hanging it like they are tonight, Gary's going to be able to get in front of one of them and pick it off for an interception.
So 2nd and 10 now for J.A. Fair on the Benton 31-yard line. Benton leading 7-0, and the War Eagles trying to get in there and score before the half ends. Lewis again will flank to the wide side. Split backs now behind the quarterback, Walter McIntosh. McIntosh backpedaling, looks, fires it over the head. No, I take that back. It's going to be caught out of the backfield by, I believe that was Jones, the tailback, and Teen Bird was right there to bring him down for the Benton Panthers. And so they will bring up after all that, 3rd and 5 as the ball is down to the 24-yard line, make it the 25-yard line.
John, I believe we've got a timeout on the field right now. The J.A. Fair coach is talking to the quarterback and giving him some theory on what he wants him to do on the next play. And that last play right there was a screen-type flare-out pass because they allowed all of our defensive linemen to come through and pursue the quarterback. And really a well-executed play by J.A. Fair. We did a good job of recovering on it to make the tackle.
1 minute, 4 seconds left to play in the first half of the ball game. The ball spotted actually on the 27-yard line, so we'll call it 3rd down and 6 yards to go now. They will be sending Reggie Carter to the near side of the field. That'll be the wide side, as the ball will be spotted on the far side hash marks when we get back into play here.
John, I have a little discussion with the coaches. I'm not sure just exactly if that wasn't a referee timeout that time rather than a team timeout.
Well, undoubtedly, and they may be going to maybe charge a timeout to somebody. I did not see anyone indicate a timeout. Coach Glenn Escola is out there. He wants a word from the referee. I don't particularly think anybody could call for a timeout that time, but
I'm not real sure just what happened. The referee now is putting the clock into action and the ball into play, so they had just a little discussion there by the referees to the coaches, and it's kind of hard to understand up here just what did happen, but there was a discussion about something.
Carter will come to the near side. Open field to McIntosh's right, I formation. Ball on the far side hash marks. Here's the snap. McIntosh takes the ball, wants to throw. Look, Lofts a pass, and it's going to be intercepted or broken up. Broken up again by Gary Tidball, is just playing magnificently in the defensive secondary for the Benton Panthers tonight, as he has broken up some key passes here in this late in this quarter.
John, they had Gary Tidball turned around that time, and there again, there's another drill that you learn in practice. They had him turned around. The quarterback really faked off to another receiver, which got Gary turned around, but he recovered very well, went back in, almost made an interception on it.
So the J.A. Fair War Eagles once again will send Reggie Carter to the near side of the field. Ball on the far side hash marks, I formation. From the Benton 27-yard line, back to pass goes McIntosh, fires it out there. Carter has it, fumbles the ball, never did really have possession of it down on the 17-yard line. Chris Barton was there covering for the Benton Panthers, and that was on 4th down and 6. So the Benton Panthers will take over on downs with 1 minute to go in the first half of the ball game, and the Panthers holding on to that 7-0 lead.
Got Brad Collett going back in at quarterback here, John, with 1 minute left. It'll be real curious to see what kind of offense we come out in, and if we try to dish the ball down the field with some passes and maybe get a score right here before we go in for the half. Got Rick Daniels also in, John.
Rick is going to be coming to the near side of the field, and that gets a round of applause out of the Panther faithful. As here we go, as they air it out toward Rick, and he can't hang on to it in the 49-yard line. Collett laid it down in there pretty good, but just slipped through Rick Daniels' hands, and Torrance Jones was covering on the play. That'll stop the clock with 55 seconds to play in the first half and make it 2nd and 10.
John, that's a pass that they've been very successful with through the last year, and they just really hadn't connected on it this year, but Rick Daniels was open, and we got John Graves in giving him a little spell now.
Graves split to the wide side, to the far side of the field, open field to Collett's left, and he's going to throw it again. Now he's going to dance around a little bit, trying to find some running room, and not much there for Brad as he takes it up to the 25, 26-yard line. And J.A. Fair is there, and quickly a timeout has been called by the J.A. Fair War Eagles with 45 seconds left to play. We're going to take a half-a-minute break. We'll be back to C.W. Lewis Stadium right after this.
Keep helping on the last tackle.
They take a minute breaks every so often here. I don't know if they told you or not.
Yeah, tell him just to mark. You go tell him just to mark where he wants to do his timeouts, and he can kind of build up to it. You know. Well, we are at C.W. Lewis Stadium with 45 seconds left to play in the first half of the ball game, and the Panthers holding on 7-0. In spite of all the offensive things that are going on, the Panther defense has scored the points tonight.
Yeah, they've done a great job, John. I noticed Rick Daniels and Brad Collett walking back on the field there a while ago together and kind of getting down their strategy. And, you know, amazingly, we've stayed in the wishbone. We haven't gone to the wing tee all night long, but yet we're passing out of the wishbone, too.
Daniels coming to the near side of the field. Here's Collett taking the ball, looking all the way for Rick Daniels, fires the pass, and it's going to be intercepted at the 47-yard line. Coming up with the ball for J.A. Fair was Torrance Jones, and Daniels was there to make the stop with 39 seconds left, and boy, it's not over yet.
It's not over yet. The 39 seconds, J.A. Fair has easily got time to get a long bomb in. They're going to come up with a quick huddle here at the line, not even going to go to a huddle. They're just going to snap and throw.
So Walter McIntosh goes under with the ball on the near side hash marks. They're on their own 48-yard line. McIntosh, no doubt what he's going to do, fires the pass, and they can't hang on to it. Trying to hit Mark Tate. Check that, Joe Davis out of the backfield. They're on the 46-yard line. Davis was hit by John Brewer, and he is not going to get up.
John Brewer made an excellent tackle. He hit the young receiver right in the hip. And, John, what that does is it results in a hip pointer and possibly bruised ribs. But and also what it does is when that receiver comes out of the backfield next time, he's going to think, is number 22 there waiting on me again? Because it was a very, very good lick. And that's what we've got to do tonight is if they're going to run this type pass program, we're going to have to hit those receivers and just show them that we've got some very strong defensive secondary back there.
That was Delano Davis that was shaken up on the field. J.A. Fair wears a white jersey with light, kind of grayish or metallic numerals, and they are hard to see. especially after they get a little dirt on them down there. So bear with me. I formation, ball on the near side hash marks. Here's McIntosh backing up to throw again. Looks, fires the pass, and can't get it to his intended receiver, Joe Davis, coming out of the backfield. Holter was there, and of course, Brewer was also there. Tidball in the vicinity for the Benton Panthers. John Brewer, I think, the main defender. 3rd down and 10 now. The clock has 23 seconds to play in the first half.
3rd down, 10.
Johnny actually did a good job that time of getting through the zone. Gary Tidball was coming over to help cover with the receiver, but he was open, and the ball was just a little bit overthrown.
It'll be Reggie Carter coming to the near side. Ball on the near side hash marks. I formation. J.A. Fair operating from their own 48-yard line. This time they'll hand off to Tate. Draw play, 50, 45, down to the Panther 39-yard line goes Mark Tate. Alan Bearden tackled him there on the 39-yard line, and they'll stop the clock again with 16 seconds to play. And J.A. Fair coach Glenn Escola coming out to discuss strategy with time running out in the first half, and Benton leading 7-0. We'll be back to C.W. Lewis Stadium in half a minute.
Huh?
That black referee, he ruled that pass complete, and he looked at the other refs, and they were all doing like that. They go, you hear these guys over here?
Yeah.
16 seconds left to play in the first half of the ball game, and we've had quite a defensive battle in the first 24 minutes, Mike.
Really been an exciting football game, John, because J.A. Fair's been putting the ball up, and anytime you put the ball up, there's a whole lot of things that can happen. It can be caught, it can be intercepted, or it can be missed for nothing to happen. And luckily for Benton tonight, there's been a whole lot of misses on J.A. Fair's side. We don't have the statistics yet, and it kind of gets by me, but I don't believe they've had one reception on a pass. So, but I tell you, the way they're running these patterns, they're running them deep, and if they get somebody open, they're going to get in there for a score.
Ball on the near side hash marks, I formation. As McIntosh bark signals, takes the ball, wants to throw. Airs it out, fires it out there, going to be knocked away by John Brewer as the pass again intended for Derek Lewis, 6'2" and 192 pounds, and I'm amazed every time I look at this roster at the size of these players for J.A. Fair.
Well, they are huge. I got a little tickled that time, John. John Brewer was sitting there with coverage, and he was zeroed in on making an interception, and Tidball came over like he's supposed to, a free safety, and knocked the ball down, but Brewer kind of looked up at him, and he said, "Hey, Gary, give me a chance to make an interception here."
Well, there is 11 seconds now left to play in this half. Carter split to the near side. Ball on the Benton 40-yard line. I formation. Back to pass. Goes McIntosh. He slips a little bit, fires the pass, and Tidball there to break it up and almost intercepted, intended for Reggie Carter. And that time McIntosh, right there in the middle of the field, it's a little treacherous there, and McIntosh slipped and caused him to hesitate a little bit, and I don't think he threw the ball as quick as he wanted to. That stops the clock with 4 seconds to play in the half.
John, surely what they'll do here is a Hail Mary, and of course, what can happen there, if we get a defensive penalty on us, like a interference call down close to the goal line, that'll give them another play. They'll run the clock out on this, but we'll have to watch and be careful and not get an interference call down on the goal line.
Tony Ross will be split to the far side. Carter to the near side. I formation. Backing up goes McIntosh. Fires the pass, and it's going to be picked off. Brian Holter, the 35. Holter is going to be hit on the 37-yard line, and on the tackle for J.A. Fair, Joe Davis, and Buck has run out. That's the end of the first half of the ball game, and we have had a wild first half here at C.W. Lewis Stadium as the Benton Panthers have fought off everything J.A. Fair has thrown at them and lead this ball game 7-0.
Well, our defense has done a great job. We haven't gone into the wing tee yet, and that's kind of stunned me just a little bit. I'm not sure if we just don't have the right personnel well, or if Coach Fight feels like that's part of what our injury problem is. We'll just have to wait the second half and see if he opens up our offense just a little bit and gets into the wing tee.
Well, we are at halftime here with the Panthers leading 7-0, and at this point, let's take a break. We'll be back in 1 minute.
To begin the second half. The War Eagles will receive from the south half. The will kick and defend the north pole.
Right. We got some stance here we can throw at him.
We're back at C.W. Lewis Stadium. We're awaiting the start of the second half as both teams are coming back out on the field. To give you just a little update on what's happened in the first half and some statistics, on the Benton side, Benton's had 23 rushes for 63 yards. Collett has attempted 5 passes, completed 1 for only 2 yards and with 1 interception. Eccles has attempted 2 passes with one completion and 2 yards also with no interceptions. And one thing that's kind of hindered us just a little bit is Benton's had 4 penalties for 30 yards. On the Fair side, J.A. Fair side, it's been 19 rushes for 55 yards, and McIntosh has had several attempts. We don't have all of them listed down here right now tonight, but he's only had 1 completion for 4 yards and 1 interception, and that coming right at the end of the first half when Brian Holter picked off the pass and ended their attempt to go in before the half to try to make a score on Benton. We're preparing now. Reed Coffin's teeing the ball up, getting ready for the second half kickoff, and we'll go back to John Riddle for the play-by-play.
Okay, thank you, Mike. As we are ready to go with third quarter action now, as Reed Coffin will be kicking off, and back deep for the J.A. Fair War Eagles is going to be Torraine Jones. Jones will be standing back on around the 5-yard line to receive the kickoff, and let's see what happens as we begin the third quarter with an end-over-end kick that'll be picked up by a Woyle. It'll be getting past the War Eagle on the 10, back to the 5, almost to the goal line. Going to be picked up now to the 5, to the 10, and scrambling his way out across the 15-yard line to about maybe the 17. Delano Davis, and Paige Eccles was there to bring him down for the Benton Panthers.
Well, that'll cause a coach heart failure right there. When that ball goes 10 yards on the kickoff, it's a live ball, and anybody has a chance to get to it. And luckily for J.A. Fair that time, they were able to go back and retrieve the ball, but it does allow Benton to get down and cover and hold them inside the 20-yard line and give them deep in their own territory to start out for the second half.
Ball will be spotted on the far side hash marks. The J.A. Fair to begin the third quarter will be running from left to right. Here's the snap. There's the give to the tailback. That's Jones. Or rather Tate, I'm sorry. And Tate is out across the 15 up maybe to about the 19-yard line. And he was hit by Adam Wright of the Benton Panthers. It's a gain of about 4. Second down and 6 yards to go for J.A. Fair.
John, there's no doubt that when we went into halftime, Benton coaches they didn't just give their team a little break and a breather. They did some adjustments. Adam Wright did a good job that time on defense of fighting off the center and making the tackle.
Carter will be split to the near side, I formation. There's the give again to the tailback Tate as he scoots his way across the 25 to the 26-yard line, shaken up by Dean Bird on the play. Needed to get to the 37 for the 1st and 10, so now third down coming up for Fair. And a long, we're going to call it 2 yards anyway.
Fair's really doing a good job of blocking, John. On that first series, or the first set there, we did an excellent job, but then Fair comes back and does a real good job of blocking. But keep in mind, folks, they are a very, very big team.
Panthers lining up with a 5-man front, I formation. McIntosh has Carter flanked to the near side, takes the ball, hands off to Tate. Tate hit for a loss on the 24-yard line, didn't even get close to the first down marker. Adam Wright slid through there, broke off a block beautifully and made the stop. And the Panthers have held J.A. Fair. They're looking at 4th and 3, and they'll have to punt the ball.
Adam Wright just did a real good job that time. He fought off the block in the center, went into the backfield, made the tackle for a loss, and is causing Fair to punt the ball.
So Delano Davis inside the 10-yard line to punt the ball as John Brewer stands deep. Davis gets a spiraling kickoff in spite of the fact that had a big rush on, and the referee is probably going to call another blocking the kicker penalty. The ball is down to the 34-yard line, but it looks like J.A. Fair is going to get a 1st and 10 out of this, and that's the second penalty of this type we've had in the ball game.
John, he almost didn't throw the flag. He was putting his hand back there, and he was real slow to throw it. And I tell you, I hate to see a penalty like that, but now Benton this year they've been rushing the kicker every time, and they've caused a lot of things to happen. And if these referees are going to call roughing the kicker on a play like that, it may be that Dwight Fite has to back off that just a little bit and hold the rush back some. They do have a play in that particular series on rushing the kicker that they can make a return out of it. So it might be a good time for Coach Fite to go to that particular play the next time and use that return play.
Well, the walk-off takes them up to the 38-yard line. First down, 10 yards to go. J.A. Fair on their side of the 50, I formation. Here's the snap. Davis in motion to the near side. They give it to Tate, and Tate runs into a couple of Benton Panthers, Dean Bird for one of them, and Adam Wright. And they say no, sir, and it's a loss on the play of about 3 yards. They will spot the ball back on the 37-yard line where his forward progress is, so it's really only a loss of 1, and they really drove Tate backwards.
Adam Wright did another good job, and Rod Mundy was by this week to talk to me, Greg's daddy, and kind of filled us in on how Greg was doing, and he's running Greg's second team up at Oklahoma State right now, and they're going to try to hold him out play, not put him in at all unless they just have to. They're trying to redshirt Greg this year, and I tell you, Adam Wright has filled some big shoes there that's been left by Greg Mundy and has done a great job doing it.
Brett Black is coming in for Brian Holter. They put the ball down on the 39-yard line. I don't see how he made a yard out of that. Second down and 9 yards to go for J.A. Fair, I formation. Walter McIntosh, the quarterback. McIntosh takes the ball, gives it to Tate again. Tate smothered on the 39-yard line and again shoved straight back for the Fighting Benton Panthers, led by Alan Bearden and also Adam Wright getting in there.
John, the reason they pulled Brian Holter out of the ball game that time, it was an official takeout. They say that he doesn't have sufficient pads on, and they're down right now putting knee pads on him. And Brian's chose not to wear knee pads. He thinks that it restricts his movement just a little bit. He's went all the way through the first half without doing it, but suddenly the officials have discovered that, and that was an official takeout.
Well, the ball is on the 39-yard line. It's 3rd and 9 for J.A. Fair. They send Carter to the near side, I formation, ball on the far side, hash marks. Davis in a slot to the left. 5-man front for the Benton Panthers. They give it again to Tate, and Tate just cannot do anything. Panthers nail him for a loss or no gain. They're on the 39-yard line. Again, Adam Wright for the Benton Panthers getting in there. It's 4th down and 9.
Somebody's made Adam Wright mad. Adam Wright is playing excellent at nose man. You couldn't play it any better. They'll use that on the films and tell all the young kids, now here's the way you play nose man.
Delano Davis back to punt the ball on the 25-yard line. This time the Panthers will only rush a couple of men.
They got the return kick on, John.
Here's John Brewer fielding it on the 25. He's up to the 30, dancing around trying to get a little running room and brought down on the 33-yard line. John Brewer trying to make something happen. We have a flag downfield. Jason James makes the stop for J.A. Fair. Well, what was the flag about?
Well, John, I saw 2 or 3 things take place. In fact, in high school football, you don't want to see this happen, but we saw a little going to the face by the J.A. Fair men, and I'm not going to anticipate who they're going to call it on, but one of the J.A. Fair boys grabbed our young man by the face and just was utilizing his head for a punching bag, and that's not what you want to see in high school football. Now, I don't know that that's who they're going to call it on. We'll wait and see. It is going to be a personal foul against J.A. Fair.
7:49 to play in the 3rd quarter. Benton leading, incidentally, 7-0. And let's see what how they're going to handle this walk-off. In this case, they got to bring it back and mark it off from the point of infraction.
Well,
I don't guess they're going to do that either.
They're going to take it, John, from where we fielded the ball, because it was after the kick was made, and it was as they were coming downfield. And very flagrant foul, and I'm sure the JA coaches don't want to see that happen, and they're really going to, that's not high school football.
Well, they walk off the 15 yards. That'll put it down on the 47 of Benton. And so Brad Collett comes out to quarterback the Benton Panthers as they begin their first drive of the quarter. Back to pass goes Collett. Decked back on the 35-yard line. And coming in there and doing a little War Eagle dance is Alvin Coates and Roosevelt Barnett. Back there quickly to bring down Brad Collett. They'll mark him down on the 37-yard line. but it's a substantial loss on the play. Second down coming up and 20 yards to go.
John, our fans saw it, and we just, the referees missed it, but right out here, John Brewer was coming out making his play here, and the J.A. Fairman just literally held him, and the referees just didn't pick it up.
Graves will flank to the near side. Ball on the far side hash marks as Brad Collett goes to work. Dropping back, going to be blindsided back on the 31-yard line. And coming in there this time is Heath Helton, and he just came out of nowhere to bring down Brad Collett for some more lost yards. This time the Panthers go back to the 33-yard line. Now, third down and 25 yards to go for the Benton Panthers.
I think it's easy to say that our offensive line is breaking down just a little bit, but also they're getting real good coverage out of the J.A. Fair defenders, and where our receivers aren't getting open in time for Brad to get the ball away real quick.
So Collett from the 32-yard line, 6:14 to go. Third quarter of the ball game. Benton leading 7-zip. Fires the pass. Rick Daniel, the 45. Midfield, the 45 of J.A. Fair. And Rick Daniel is awfully close to a 1st and 10. Toraine Jones on the stop. Let's see, they're going to mark it on the Fair 45-yard line, so it'll be 1 yard short of a 1st and 10.
John, I'm sorry. That's a terrible spot. That's where the point of contact was made. Rick Daniels went on another 3, maybe 3.5 yards. That was just a very, very bad spot that we got from the officials that time. And, of course, our fans are letting them know it.
So Benton now looking at 4th down and a long yard to go. Ball on the far side hash marks. The 45-yard line. J.A. Fair comes across. It'll be offsides. And it'll be a 5-yard penalty. Benton gets a 1st and 10.
That's fired us up, John. We went out then into a long count, and what I'll explain to the folks here, we go up to the line of scrimmage and the quarterback says set. He calls out 2 colors, white, hut, and that's on 1 when they go that way. And that time he went on hut 2, and it drew J.A. Fair off and got us the 1st down. It was a great call by Brad Collett and the coaching staff.
Ball on the 40-yard line of J.A. Fair. 5.5 minutes to play, third quarter. In the wishbone, here's Collett. Down the line, Collett keeps. Collett on the 35, the 30. Collett the 25, the 20, the 15. Collett, one man between him and the goal line. He scores for the Benton Panthers.
That was a pretty run by Brad Collett, John. That time they did the option to the far side of the field. And there again, J.A. Fair played our pitch man all the way and laid off the quarterback. And when they lay off the quarterback like that, when you've got a Brad Collett that has the ability he has, he's going to break it open. It's a great play and a good executed play by the Benton Panthers. And Coach Fite's going out right now and hugging them all. And I tell you what this will do now. This will fire the Benton Panthers up. They'll be ready to come back when they get on defense now and try to stop any charge that Fair might put out in front of them.
Benton now pulls out to a 13-zip lead, and John Graves coming in to attempt the extra point. Here's the snap, here's the kick. The kick is up, the kick is good. Timeout on the field as Benton leads J.A. Fair 14-0. We'll be back in half a minute.
Pretty run, wasn't it? Beautiful run.
Yeah.
Hey,
how many yards
they're
was that?
Playing 47 yards.
47 yards?
Yeah. Hey, did you see how they're playing 3 men on our pitch man out there? That's ridiculous.
Well, we return here to C.W. Lewis Stadium, where Brad Collett raced 47 yards to give the Benton Panthers a 14-0 lead after John Graves kicked the extra point up and in. And so the Panthers now breathing a little bit easier, but still, J.A. Fair has had their moments, although the Panther defense has been able to stop them every time they've had their hands on the ball. So let's see what happens as Reed Kaufman has it teed up. And back deep for J.A. Fair is Toraine Jones. Kaufman comes up. Here's the kick. It's end over end. Jones will get it on the 5-yard line. He's out to the 10, to the 15, to the 20-yard line. Coming up to the 25 and about the 26-yard line goes Toraine Jones and hit for the middle of the Benton Panther line. That time John Council led the kamikaze charge. So the Panther defense comes back on, and Walter McIntosh and J.A. Fair will come in to do their thing with 5:13 left to play in the third quarter, and the Panthers leading 14-0.
Davis ball first and 10 for the
First conference game of the season for the Benton Panthers. The ball on the 27-yard line. It's his first conference game for both clubs. I formation. Far side hash marks. They pitch it to Tate. Tate trying to go wide. Tate is hit on the 28-yard line and slides out of bounds. There to knock him out of bounds, Brian Holter and Dean Bird combining for the Benton Panthers. Tate gains 2 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 8 coming up for J.A. Fair. The line to gain is the Fair 36 for the 1st and 10. 4:58 to play, 3rd quarter, and Benton holding on to a 14-zip lead. McIntosh will bring him up to the line of scrimmage. He'll send Carter to the near side. Ball again on the far side hash mark, so open field to McIntosh's left. Ball on the 28-yard line. In J.A. Fair territory, they give it to the fullback Davis. Davis spins. Davis going to be hit by John Brewer on the 29-yard line and driven straight back. So Joe Davis couldn't find any running room that time, as the Panthers have really been, the last 2 drives have really been putting the hurt on J.A. Fair's running backs.
Oh, they've been doing a great job. And I watched Adam Wright that time, John. I really wanted to see how he played, and I'll tell you, Adam Wright realized the play was going wide that time, and he gave the center a good dose of Adam Wright. So I think who's made Adam mad is the center, and he's just showing him, hey, look, I've come out here to play football tonight, and there's just a whole lot of contact out there right now. This is by far the hardest hitting ball game that we've had all year long.
Ball on the 28, 3rd down, 8 yards to go as McIntosh leads them up to the line of scrimmage. Carter split to the near side, I formation. Davis in the slot left. Back to pass goes McIntosh. Got pursuit, got nailed back on the 24-yard line as 3 or 4 Benton Panthers got in there. Matt Bowen on the initial stop. Brian Holter right there with him. Also Alan Bearden again for the Benton Panthers. So that'll knock them back 1 yard. It'll be 4th down and 11 for J.A. Fair, and Delano Davis will step back inside the 15 to punt the ball. Well, we're going to see a block this time. Looks like we're going to line everybody up on the line one more time. And here comes the rush, and there's the boot. Nice bit of fakery there by Davis, and there's a flag as the ball will go out of bounds on the 45-yard line.
I believe we're going to have the illegal substitution against Benton, John, which, if I believe I'm correct, it's a 15-yard penalty, which will put J.A. Fair back in control of the football. That time, I think we had 12 men on the field. I tell you why I'm thinking, because I've been corrected every night all night by the officials, but I believe it is going to be illegal substitution.
Well, let's get the referee's call. Looks like it is going to go against the Panthers. The ball on the 20, that's what it's going to be. Too many men on the field, as the Benton Panthers are going to pick up a penalty, and that's going to give J.A. Fair a 1st and 10. They walk the ball up across the 35, and they will spot it on the 40-yard line, and so the War Eagles get a break there, as they will have it on the 40-yard line, still across their side of the 50. 1st down and 10 yards to go. 3:34 to play. 3rd quarter, and the Panthers leading 14-0. Ball in the middle of the field. I formation. McIntosh sends Carter to the near side. Davis in a slot left. And back to pass goes McIntosh. Fires a pass out there. Has a man. It's incomplete. And now we're going to get pass interference called on Gary Tidball, as the pass was intended for the tight end Derek Lewis, and Tidball had a little contact that time, I'm afraid.
John, he just misjudged where the receiver was at. He was actually going up, going to try to catch the ball, and on his way up, he did hit the defender. And I'll tell you, the one thing the Panthers don't need to do right now is self-destruct, and that easily can happen after you make a stand like we did down a while ago, causing them to punt, and then the illegal substitution penalty came against us. And I want to go back to that last series, John. Alan Bearden, who Coach Roseberry told me this week is the best defensive end he's ever coached, did a fantastic job of playing defensive end that last time, causing them to go into that punt. But we just need to hold ourselves together right here and just not self-destruct.
Well, the 15-yard penalty puts the ball on the 45-yard line in Benton territory now. McIntosh, I formation. On the throw of the ball, has Dean Bird after him, and he rolls to the left, fires the pass, has plenty of time, has Davis out there, and it's broken up. Ted Davis on the shoulder pads. Ian Perry was covering on the play along with Gary Tidball for the Benton Panthers. So 2nd down and 10 coming up from the Panther 45-yard line. 3 minutes and 14 seconds left to play. 3rd quarter, and Benton holding on to that 14-0 lead.
John, our defensive secondary has proven all night long that we're capable of controlling any passing game that they might throw at us. The big thing you have to watch for, of course, on a wet field like this is the the offensive man knows where he's going, the defensive man doesn't, and the right kind of cut can get a defensive man falling on the ground, and they can make an easy reception that way.
Tony Ross in a slot left. Here's McIntosh rolling to the left. Looks like he's going to keep it. He's across the 45 down to the Panther 43-yard line. And on the stop for Benton that time was Bird along with Alan Bearden. And so third down coming up for J.A. Fair. They picked up a couple on the play, so we'll make it 3rd and 8 coming up.
Looks like John Brewer's injured his ankle just a little bit, John, and that's one thing that we've discussed at halftime is one reason why they're not in the wing T is they want to try to get Brewer and Daniels and all of them healthy.
Yeah, Brewer limping pretty good on that ankle right now. Ball on the far side, hash marks on the Panther 43. Here's McIntosh back in the pocket, fires the pass, looking out there. It's going to be broken up again by Tidball. Tidball had an opportunity to pick it off. Derek Lewis was the intended receiver, and the pass was a little off the target. So with 2.5 minutes to play in the third quarter, that stops the clock on 4th down and 8 yards to go. And once again, we've been having our problems when J.A. Fair goes back to punt. Let's see what happens as Delano Davis will drop back to try to punt the ball.
We're going to go into a non-rush situation here, John.
Davis gets a low snap from center. Now he's going to throw the ball. He puts it up, and it's going to be over the head of his intended receiver, Derek Lewis. Tidball was there covering, and the Benton Panthers will take over, and so J.A. Fair now has a miscue, and the Benton Panthers, again, with good field position. J.A. Fair, and one of the things I think Coach Fike talked about, Mike, was and stressed maybe the kicking game. The Panthers have not been backed up in the corner all night.
No, we haven't had any problems such as that, and I want to make note now that we do have Paige Eccles back in as quarterback for the Panthers.
Running out of the wishbone with the ball on the far side, hash marks. Benton moving from right to left in the third quarter, looking at 6 down linemen for J.A. Fair. There's the give. Tommy Burton with the ball across the 45. Burton slams his way up to the 47, and Tony Ross is there to bring him down, along with John Alexander for J.A. Fair. So Tommy picks him up 4 yards on the play. 2nd down and 6 coming up. The line to gain for the 1st and 10, the J.A. Fair 47. Ball in the middle of the field with 2 minutes now left to play in the third quarter. Out to the wide side of the field for the Benton Panthers is Darren Adams. Paige Eccles takes the ball. Now he'll pitch it out. Burton's got a little running room. He's on the 50-yard line. Burton down to the 48-yard line, about a yard away from the 1st and 10. Terrain Jones was there to trip him up.
John, I'd like to take this time to give Bo Cheney a lot of credit. Bo's father is Don Mac Cheney, and Don Mac's had a serious stroke the last couple of weeks, and he's in a grave condition in Little Rock Hospital, and shows a lot of character and a lot of bravery for Bo to be out here tonight and playing the type game he's playing.
Mike, the ball on the J.A. Fair 49-yard line. Benton looking at 3rd and 2 on this play. Here is Eccles taking a ball and handing off up the middle to Terry Berry, and Terry's awfully close to a 1st and 10 down there on around the 47-yard line, and Alvin Coates was there for the War Eagles to bring him down. 1 minute, 4 seconds to play in the third quarter, and we get a timeout to measure now. It's hard to judge from up here in the press box, but Benton is awfully close to that 1st and 10. You bring the chains out.
I think we're going to be a credit card shot.
Paige Eccles is there to take a look at it, and it's going to be, you're about right, going to be a little bit short. So about a football length short of the 1st and 10, so we have a 4th down situation now coming up for the Panthers, and of course Benton will go for it here. The ball on the, just about as close to the 47 as you can get, with 1 minute and 1 second to play in the third quarter. Going out to the wide side is Blake Jumper. Ball on the far side, hash marks in the wishbone. Paige Eccles, the quarterback. He'll take it in for the 1st and 10 on the 46-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Benton Panthers, and they got a flag on the play.
I don't know what they're going to call, John, but I'll tell you, Bo Cheney and Paige Eccles and the entire offensive line did a great job that time. You freeze all other linemen except the center and the quarterback, and that time there's no flag. They're going to throw the flag off. That's good to see in a football game. I like to see an official do that.
Well, I think that play not only confused J.A. Fair, confused one of the officials.
Well, there was no other movement other than the center and the quarterback, and that's the design of the play.
So it's a 1st and 10 for the Panthers on the J.A. Fair 46-yard line. 37 seconds to play in the quarter, and Eccles bark signals. takes the ball. He'll try to keep it, and not much there, although he gets across the 45 and down to the fair 44-yard line, and Roderick Blackman is there to bring him down.
I tell you, number 34 for fair that time come up and was going to put another one of those licks on Tommy Burton, and Tommy Burton said, not this time, and he laid it back.
2nd down and 9 for the Panthers. They need to get down to the 35 for the 1st and 10, and we're down to 9 seconds, and the clock is going to run out. And that is going to be the end of the 3rd quarter with Benton leading after 3, 14-0. We'll be back to C.W. Lewis Stadium in 1 minute.
That's the end of the 3rd quarter.
How many?
30. We're going to come pretty close.
Yeah, go ahead.
Second down, 8.
Back at C.W. Lewis Stadium, Philip Rye comes in and keeps Paige Eccles from doing much of anything that time. Paige loses 1 yard on the play back to the 46-yard line. And 11 minutes and 42 seconds left to play in the first conference ball game of the season, and the Benton Panthers holding on to a 14-0 lead at this point. The Panthers will have Blake Jumper flanked to the near side, ball on the far side, hash marks. Eccles down under in the wishbone with 3rd and 11 now. Page fakes. Page going to take it down to the 45. Not much there at all. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and Benton will have to punt the ball. Alvin Coates on the stop for the War Eagles. And so the Panthers will call on the services of Brian Holter once again to punt the ball, and Torraine Jones will be back deep for J.A. Fair.
John, that last play is designed to do a play-action fake to the fullback and then raise up and hit the tight end, and Page just couldn't find Michael Grant that time to throw it to him and had to pull it down and just eat the ball.
Holter will be getting into it on about the 41, 42-yard line. There's the bunt. It was going to be blocked, and J.A. Fair will catch it right there on the Panther 47-yard line. And for the life of me, I did not see who came in there and got his hand on the ball.
It's number 46, John, for the Fair War Eagles that blocked it.
Ken McCarg. Well, he just got in there, and I think that surprised Brian Holter that time.
Surprised the whole bunch. I don't know that we were actually set up real well that time in order to protect, but I tell you, there again, Benton doesn't need to self-destruct right now.
J.A. Fair with great field position on the Panther 47-yard line. They give it to Tate. The 45, the 40. Tate rambling down to the 34-yard line of Benton, 1st and 10, and J.A. Fair. Tate is hit by Tidball and Bird at that point, but another 1st and 10, and you know they were running with Tate, and they had something going on a couple of series ago, and then the Panthers were able to stop them. But
John, what they were able to do that time is it was a slant off the right tackle with the big man at fullback, and when he made his slant, our 2 linebackers, Browning and Holter, overran the play. And anytime you get your linebackers overrunning the play, they're going to get into the secondary with the offensive ball carriers.
So it's a 1st and 10. The Benton 34 fumble on the play, and I think J.A. Fair got it back. Bad exchange from the center, Joel Shealy, and quarterback Walter McIntosh, but I believe you're going to see that the War Eagles got that one back. One of the big linemen there, Todd Taylor, one of the tackles, 237-pounder, got it back. He fell on it, so lost it down, more or less. 2nd down and 10 yards to go. We're inside 10 minutes now to play in the ball game. Benton leading 14-0. J.A. Fair trying to capitalize on a block punt. If they were able to get the ball on the Benton 47-yard line, and they have it now on the Panther 34. This time it'll be Delano Davis along with Carter to the wide side of the field, I formation. Here's McIntosh handing off to Tate. Tate trying to get some running room. He's on the 30 down to the 28-yard line of the Benton Panthers, and Brian Holter is there to hang on and make the tackle. But Tate picks him up about 5 yards on the carry. And that'll bring up third down now for Fair. Well, they got, third down and 5 yards to go.
Down that time, Russ Browning, one of our linebackers, along with Brian Holter, Russ had an opportunity to make the tackle at the line of scrimmage, and the ball carrier just ran right by him. It was almost like he couldn't see the ball in the ball carrier's hand.
Fair trying to make it down in first down yardage there on the 24-yard line. They give it to Tate again, and Tate smothered. They're on the 27-yard line. Adam Wright makes the tackle. They'll unpile him there, and Brian Holter helping one of the J.A. Fair players up.
Well, he's doing that, and just prior to that, he did a little bit of cheerleading. So, you know, we're seeing a little bit of the old Holter here tonight. When he gets into that cheerleading, he'll usually get the crowd to react behind him.
Fourth down and 4 yards to go for J.A. Fair. The ball on the Benton 28-yard line, 8:23 to go. Benton hanging on to a 14-0 lead. Fair came up, and then Coach Glenn Escola signaled for timeout. We have got 8:19 to go. Let's pause for 1 minute.
He was at the university. He had to quit because of a neck injury.
Which one?
Down the right.
Well, we've got 8 minutes and 19 seconds to play in this ball game. J.A. Fair with the ball on the Panther 28-yard line, and there's flags flying in the air. One of the J.A. Fair players moved. It was Todd Taylor, and that'll be a 5-yard penalty assessed against the War Eagles. And so 4th and 4, now 4th down, and after the 5-yard penalty, it'll be 9 yards to go.
Well, they're not making any adjustments on the J.A. Fair side. Looks like they're going to continue to do what they were doing, but I'll tell you how good Brian Holter's in the ball game. He was the first one to see it and pointed right to the guard that moved that time, and as a result, we did get the penalty out of it.
So the ball on the 34-yard line, 4th down and 9, as McIntosh has his team set up in the I formation. Backpedals, back to the 40, rolls right, looks, fires the pass. Going to be broken up by Gary Tidball. Tidball trying for the interception, and Reggie Carter ran into him, kind of cut his legs out from under him, and Gary Tidball is down on the field.
Yeah, and the players are signaling for assistance out on the field, and it looks like we do have Dr. Stewart coming out of the stands right now to come down and assist, and he's awful good to do that. But I tell you, that was a pretty vicious lick, and that's a good way to get a neck or a back injury.
Now Benton will take over on downs on the 33-yard line of their own 33-yard line. 8:14 to play in the ball game, and right now they're going to work on Gary Tidball, see if he's all right. Let's take a break at this point. We'll be back in 30 seconds. Well, back in C.W. Lewis Stadium, where they are attending to Gary Tidball, who really got a vicious hit there laid on him by Reggie Carter. I don't know that Carter did it intentionally. Tidball was going for the interception. Carter coming back trying to get to the ball also, and just kind of cut his legs out from under him.
Yeah, Johnny did, and it happens a lot in that type of play when you come across the middle like that. Somebody's going to get hit, and nearly all times the receiver is the one that takes the lick, but this time Gary Tidball was up above him, and I tell you, let's pat Gary Tidball on the back. He has been in about every play that J.A. Fair's run tonight because they've thrown so many passes and has just really done a great job, and they're starting to raise him up right now. And I think if I saw the indication correct, Coach Fight came off indicating that Tidball had hurt maybe his wrist or his arm, and that possibly also the way he landed could be a shoulder injury. So, but they've raised him up, and it does indicate that we don't have a back or a neck injury at this point.
Well, that's good, and still attending to Gary down there. Going to be getting back to play here in just a minute. 8:14 to go in the ball game. Tidball will get a nice round of applause as he comes off the field under his own power. He has really had an outstanding ball game tonight, no doubt about it.
Played a great football game, and he may be dazed just a little bit more than he is anything else. And I tell you, we've got Dr. Stewart down there, and we just got to give him a lot of credit. He comes to these ball games and donates his time, and it's real important to have a man here like Dr. Stewart that can diagnose things and keep injuries from going any further than what they do.
Judd Fight now in at fullback for the Benton Panthers as Paige Eccles takes the ball, hands it to Fight, and Fight won't go anywhere. Hit right there on the 30-yard line for a loss on the back in the backfield as Jamal Williams was there to bring him down. So they'll just leave it right there. No gain on the play. 2nd down and 10. They will mark it still on the 33-yard line. 7:54 and counting here. 4th quarter of the ball game. The Panthers trying to win their first conference game of the year. Move to 4-0. They lead 14-0. Ball in the middle of the field as John Graves will split to the near side, running out of the wishbone with Paige Eccles at the controls. Eccles takes the ball and going to be smothered. Drop back across the 30 on the 29-yard line, and getting in there was Alvin Coates for J.A. Fair.
I don't know if Eccles being in the ball game gives J.A. Fair an indication on defense that maybe they can do something differently, but I tell you, they have the last 2 plays just beat our line right on the line of scrimmage and not allowed us to block in any shape, form, or fashion. And nobody can do anything unless they've got line blocking.
Bet now facing 3rd and 14 from their own 28-yard line. Eccles spins, takes the ball, hands off Tommy Burton. He is fighting across the 30 to the 31-yard line, and that gives the folks a good indication just how tough Tommy Burton is. On the stop, Travis Hannison and one other guy for J.A. Fair, and Tommy was just shoving those guys back.
Well, he did a great job, and I'll tell you, the young man number 20 for J.A. Fair that was on the bottom of that pile, he gets up very slow, and Tommy Burton, even as a sophomore, and we've said it several times, Tommy Burton's going to be he'll be a real player in the Benton Panther football coming up through the years.
Torraine Jones will be the deep man as Brian Holter is going to punt the ball, and here's Holter's punt, and Holter this time gets hit, and no flag is thrown. The ball goes out of bounds on the 40-yard line, and J.A. Fair will take it at that point. And boy, the Benton fans really upset that there wasn't a flag thrown on that play. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. Mike, did you get a better look at it?
John, I watched it, and I really don't understand why there wasn't a flag thrown. That was a flagrant hit on Brian Holter, and I don't understand that and don't follow that, but the referee's the referee, and he's paid for doing it, and we won't argue with him, but maybe he saw something we didn't see.
So J.A. Fair will take it on the 39-yard line with 6:17 to go in the game. Trailing 14-0, I formation. Walter McIntosh, the quarterback. McIntosh backpedaling, trying to get some points going. Fires the pass complete to Carter on the Benton 45-yard line and downed immediately by Ian Perry. So it's a 1st and 10 as J.A. Fair again moves into Benton territory. They're on the 45-yard line. 6 minutes and 12 seconds to play in the game. Benton 14, Fair nothing. First conference game for both ball clubs. The Panthers trying to come away with this important conference win against an undefeated J.A. Fair club. Both ball clubs undefeated in tonight's ball game. Reggie Carter is split to the wide side of the field. Ball on the far side hash marks. Ross goes in motion to the far side. Back to pass goes McIntosh. Lobs it out there for Carter. He gathers it in on the 25. He's down to the 21-yard line. 1st and 10 for J.A. Fair.
John, what we've done is Gary Tidball, our starting free safety, has come out of the ball game with an injury, and they're attending to his neck over here with an ice pack. And Darren Adams has come in the ball game in his replacement. Darren's a real good athlete, but he just hadn't settled into the ball game and the stride of things, and we do have an injured player. I believe it's a J.A. Fair player over on the sideline, but Darren Adams is going to have to settle into the sway of the game and get used to the offenses that they run and the patterns they run in order to play that free safety position.
That was the split in the receiver there, Reggie Carter, that was shaken up on the play. And they're attending to him now on the sidelines. 5:47 to go in the ball game, and when they get Carter, he's kind of lying half on the field, half off the field, so they're gonna stop the game here for a minute. Now we have a flag thrown on the play. Was this? Did this just happen or what?
It just happened, John, and they're going to, I believe, call an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on the J.A. Fair coach over there, and maybe an indicator of why some of their players have played the way they have and acted the way they have on the field tonight. But that's a play, or a foul, I'm sure, there that J.A. Fair wishes that coach could reach out there and get that handkerchief and put it back in that referee's pocket.
Well, I'll tell you what, this may develop into a pretty good little rivalry. This series started last year, and of course, Benton won last year's ball game, if you fans will recall. What was the score here? It was 28-3 last year, and the Panthers and J.A. Fair, this may develop into quite a little rivalry now in years to come. They walk off a penalty against the War Eagles, pushing the ball back up to the 35-yard line after the unsportsmanlike conduct call. It'll make it first down and 25 now for J.A. Fair.
I'll tell you, John, give credit to Dwight Fowler. If you ever see one of those penalties called on him, there'll be very good reason for it.
Ball is on the far side hash marks as McIntosh takes it and hands off to the fullback Davis. He can't go anywhere. He's hit right on the line of scrimmage and goes backwards. Getting up off the bottom of the pile, Mr. Brian Holter for the Benton Panthers. Danny Van Cleve also there. Second down, still 25 yards to go.
I tell you, Holter rises up out of that pile there and says, all right, let's go again. I like that. That was good contact in there and good play by the middle of the defensive line for the Panthers.
Clock an enemy of J.A. Fair, 5:20 to play. Here is Delano Davis, split to the near side. I formation, McIntosh takes the ball, leaves it with Tate. Draw play, slips on the 35-yard line, and there to cover for the Panthers was Alan Bearden. So he picked up about a yard. It'll be third down, and 24 yards to go for the War Eagles.
I know we said it just a while ago, but I know that J.A. Fair coach is sitting over there just wishing he hadn't said what he said. And I think what happened over there, John, is they felt like that the coach felt like the Benton defender grabbed the face mask on the tackle, but referee didn't call it, but he did call the one on the coach. Carter back in the ball game now, flanked to the wide side. Davis to the near side as McIntosh lets it go, looking for Carter. Going to be intercepted by number 14 for the Panthers. That's Darren Adams, and Benton gets the ball back on the 5-yard line and stops again the J.A. Fair threat with 4:32 to play. Benton hanging on to a 14-0 lead, and Page Eccles and company will come back out on the field. I tell you, John, that's a good confidence builder for Darren Adams. He had to come in relief of Gary Tidball, as we talked about there a while ago, and right in the same place that Gary Tidball's been all night long, and that's under the gun. And Darren Adams did a great job that time of getting back and covering, playing center field, some people call it in football, and come down with the interception. And that'll help him build his confidence in order to play that free safety position. Well, the Benton student body is trying to put him away there, singing a little goodbye song to J.A. Fair as Page Eccles takes the ball, leaves it up the middle, and it gets across the 5 to about the 7-yard line. And for the life of me, I did not see who carried the ball.
Football on the play.
Well, unraveling Tommy Burton getting up off the bottom of the pile. Apparently a fumble on the play. The ball is going to be spotted on the 6-yard line. It'll be second down and 9 yards to go. 3 minutes and 44 seconds to play in this one. Actually, the ball really going to be closer to the 5-yard line. Benton running out of the wishbone. The ball on the far side, hash marks. Graves is split to the near side. Here's the snap. They leave it up the middle with Terry Berry, and Terry finding just not much room at all. He takes it up to about the 7-yard line. And now the War Eagles will call timeout. Neil Andrews on the stop with 3:27 to go and Benton up by 14. Let's pause for 1 minute. We'll be right back. Yeah, 2. Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Well, he was jumping ahead and holding back. Literally had to hold it back.
Third down, 8.
We return. We're back at C.W. Lewis Stadium with 3:27 to go in the ball game, and Paige Eccles going to work here on the 6-yard line with not much room to go at all. Coming up and across the 10 now out to about the 12-yard line. Carrying the ball is Dean Bird for the Benton Panthers. Doyle Moore on the tackle for J.A. Fair, and Dean gets it out across the 10, and it's still going to be a little bit short of the 1st and 10, 4th down and 1, as the ball will be spotted on the 13-yard line.
John, is good.
Just a little bit further.
It was a good play to get us out of a touchy situation down there to have to punt out of our own end zone. And Coach Fight instructed Holger as he went out. He said, just take your time and get the thing off. Just don't get it blocked.
Holder standing in the end zone now to receive the punt. Gets a nice snap from center and gets the punt away. Nice spiral. There's a flag as the J.A. Fair player gets it on the 44-yard line, scrambling on the 40, and down he goes on the, actually right on the 40-yard line. There's a flag on the play as running the ball for Fair was, let's see, well, I take that back. Got the wrong name here in front of me. On the tackle, running the ball was Blackman for Fair, and on the stop for Benton, well, I don't remember. I think it was Terry Berry.
John, I believe we're going to have illegal substitution on J.A. Fair. They had too many men on the field that time, and unless they wave off the flag, the referees were sitting there trying to count. No, they are not going to wave it off. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty. That's going to bring it back, put Benton back with the ball 1st and 10.
Well, they bring it back, and the Benton Panthers will get some breathing room now. Pick up a 1st and 10 with 2:38 to go, and this is just what you want to see happen now for the Benton Panthers anyway, trying to preserve their first conference win of the year, and they walk off a 15-yard penalty against Fair, which will take the ball all the way across the 25 up to the 27-yard line. 1st down and 10 yards to go after the illegal participation called against the War Eagles. So 1st and 10 with 2:38 to go in the ball game, and the Panthers up by 14, and an opportunity now to get a drive going and grind this one to a screeching halt and get out of here with their first conference win.
John, I never have seen a referee count with both hands, but he was doing a pretty good job at that.
Here's Paige Eccles taking the ball, wants to throw, fires the pass. It's going to be incomplete, and the pass that time was intended for Michael Grant, the tight end, and covering on the play for the War Eagles was Chris Elliott. 2nd down and 10 yards to go with 2 minutes and 19 seconds to play in the ball game. That stops the clock. Benton with the ball on the 28-yard line, looking at 2nd down. This time it'll be Jumper coming to the near side. Ball on the far side, hash marks. Benton has been on the wishbone all night long tonight. And here we go. The ball goes up the middle to the fullback, Judd Fight, and Judd takes it up to about the 29-yard line. Not much running room there. And a timeout called by J.A. Fair. With 2:11 to go, Benton up by 14. We'll be back in 1 minute.
William Carver.
Dang.
Bell won the last time.
How we doing? How we doing?
Good, very good. I don't know about that one umpire. They're pretty good, you know. I still can't get over that.
He was sitting there going, called it illegal participation. It was illegal substitution. It's a bad, there's a sign there that says it's a bad day to be an Eagle. That comes from Coach Fight saying it's a great day to be a Benton Panther. You want me to comment on that in a minute?
Yeah.
got a big sign hanging up down here in the end zone, John. It says it's a bad day to be an Eagle, and that comes from a statement that Coach Fight always makes. It's a great day to be a Benton Panther.
Well, they're trying to make this one come true. Here's Paige Eccles pitching the ball out. Tommy Burton, it's on the ground, and scramble for it. J.A. Fair has come up with the ball on the 25-yard line. Jeremy Williams came up with it. Eccles never really got a handle on it that time, and he was about to go down. He pitched it out to Burton, who never got a handle on it, allowing the J.A. Fair player to come up with the ball. So Fair, with 2:04 to go in the game, gets somewhat of a break here. Now the Panther defense is going to have to come out and do their thing.
That's a mistake by a young quarterback, John, and Coach Fight brought him over to the sideline, and he wasn't eating and chewing on him. He just put his arm around him and explained to him that he didn't need to do that, and I tell you, that goes a longer way with a young man than any other way of doing it.
That's right, and sometimes you just need to, to take a break here. Here's Delino Davis now at quarterback. He fires a pass, picked off. Holter, the 20, the 25. Holter on the 30 and up to the 35-yard line and out of bounds. Brian Holter right in the right place. The pass from a new quarterback, Delano Davis, and Joe Davis makes the stop for J.A. Fair, and Holter just played that one perfectly.
Oh, he's an excellent linebacker, and that's why he's being looked at by so many major colleges, John. He just laid back in the zone, waited and watched the quarterback and kept his eye on him, and I tell you, the quarterback never looked off to another receiver, and Holter knew that and knew exactly where the play was coming and was able to make the interception and stop the drive. Now Benton just needs to do ball control, hold on to it, and not make any errors.
Benton with the ball on their own 33-yard line as flags fly.
I think they're going to call Michael Grant for lining up in the neutral zone. He was just a little too far out that time.
We're down to 1:44 to play in the ball game. And that's what it is, offsides against the Benton Panthers, so we'll have first down over again and 15 yards to go. That will move the ball back to the 27-yard line. And here we go one more time. 14-0 to score, 1 minute, 44 seconds to play in this ball game. And we'll make a little bit about next week's ball game right now. Benton getting ready to take on Texarkana down there, and that's always a rough place to go into and play. Here's Eccles taking a ball. Eccles is going to keep on the 30. Eccles on the 35-yard line, and actually just a little bit short of the 35-yard line, but a nice little bit of running there by Paige Eccles. And on the stop was Jeremy Williams for Fair. Eccles gets the ball all the way up to the 34, and it'll be 2nd and 8 now at that point.
John, I can't sell Paige Eccles short at all. He's a sophomore, and he's got a lot to learn, but I tell you, he's learning it out there tonight. And up and coming next year and the year after, he'll be a great asset to the Panther football team.
Had an outstanding year as a 9th grader, led his ball club to the Three Rivers Conference Championship with Tommy Burton and Brent Black there in the backfield. Here's the pitch now. Burton is going to be hit and nailed back on the 33-yard line. Not much there for Tommy Burton, as Joe Davis was there waiting, lying in wait on him, and it's a loss on the play. Will make it 3rd and 10 coming up. We're down to 44 seconds to play in this one, as the Benton Panthers will wrap up win number 4 on the year, 14-0 over J.A. Fair. Barring any unforeseen scoring that Benton may do, they're going to wrap this one up, as they're going to let the clock just run its course now as much as they can. 28 seconds. And the Panther fans celebrating now as the celebration is about to begin, as Benton will have a 1-0 conference lead now.
John, you know, the thing I think of, and we need to comment on this, is last night's ball game. By golly, we saw an awful good junior high ball game here last night with a minute 33 left, and we're going to go ahead and get the delay penalty now with 12 seconds left in the ball game. And Benton will have to snap the ball in order to get the clock back started, but you can pretty well say that we can pull the shade down on this one and go ahead and mark it up. It's over with, and a conference victory for the Panthers.
Tell you what, those fans that weren't able to see that junior high game last night really missed a miracle comeback there by the Benton Warriors. Let's see what happens now. Is we're going to do one more snap, and this will be history, as Paige Eccles spins and just hands the ball off to Dean Bird across the 30 to the 31-yard line. And down to 4 seconds, 3 seconds, and that is going to be the end of the ball game, as the Benton Panthers have won their first conference victory, moved to 4-0 on the year, 14-0 over the J.A. Fair War Eagles. We'll be back to have some post-game comments, but right now let's go back for these words. You're listening to Benton Panther football. We'll be back in a minute.
Do what?
There's some scouts down there. I'm not sure who they're from.
Well, I saw Texarkana down there. Yeah.
How many we got? 39.
There are some counts down there. I just don't know who they are. It might be 100.
Well, the fans enjoying a celebration down there on the